How's everybody doing? Welcome to the fish room. As you can see, this dirty tank in front of us, moving some plecos around today, so I figured I'd shoot a quick video. I had plecos breeding in here months ago, and I pulled the parents and I just left the babies to grow out. Some have been growing faster than others and I've sold them off, but I already moved some to other tanks. This container here is some of the standard fin bristlenose plecos. And some of them are like a medium length fin, but I'm going to sell them as just commons, and some people get a nice surprise. But this container here are all my long fins, and they're cool. They have like a little white or a yellow trim on the end of their fins, and they're still pretty small. They definitely grow slower than the commons. I think it's because they have to use a lot of their nutrients just to grow their finnage. So they're probably about the same length, but they don't get that same size to them. But hopefully whenever I separate the commons from the long fins will grow better when they're with only long fins. I don't know if they really compete much for food, but that's what I'm doing right now, just to kind of fill you guys in. I pulled that sponge filter out, wrung it out. It was super filthy. Netted some waste off the bottom, but this tank's actually really clean chemically. So I had water changes a few days ago on them, so in between my water changes during the week is when I like to move fish, because everything is clean and they're all pretty much on the same parameters. But just checking with you guys. I think I'm going to name this video setting up a breeder tank, something like that. But this is for bristlenose plecos. You can see I wrote on dry erase marker. I go through and kind of give myself reminders or like to-do lists. Long fin bristlenose pair. So up here I have my rams and some long fin plecos. There's a male right there. He's pretty big in the front corner. I got some other younger males, stuff like this. These I might throw on the website, or I'll sell them locally, because they're super nice. I want people to work with them, breed them, kind of see what they produce. But really nice fins. That one's got kind of a trim. You can see he grew the fastest, so I'm going to use him, and I have a female for him in this tank here. She's a proven breeder. She had all these babies in the tank, and all my pleco tanks are kind of cloudy because they just get all this mom on the bottom in a few days. But I do kind of keep up on it as much as I can, and it's chemically balanced. But she's producing calicos, all kinds of long fins. There's a few albinos in here. But her male, I think he got injured whenever they're in the cave, and he got a little bacterial infection. So I ended up losing him, and just kind of showing some of the babies as I talk the best I can. But she's in that cave. I'm going to pull her out, pull that male out, put him in that tank. And then the baby long fins down there will be going in here to grow out, and I'm going to sell some of those guppies. And then over in this sale tank, these are all my common plecos and albinos. There's a few blue-eye leucistics in there, kind of just get people good deals on those. But they'll go in here until I sell them to online sales, and just pet store wholesale will buy a whole bunch of them. There's a cool blue-eye there on the sponge filter. Might even have to pull her out and move her somewhere else. But little update on the fish. Let's go ahead, move those guys in. I'll show you what I do to breed my bristlenose. I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done, but the breeding setup is super easy. I run a sponge filter. I keep those guys around 76 to 80 degrees. I'll toss one of these flower pots in there, and I drill a hole in the side. That way they can access it. The eggs can't get tossed out of there, and it's super cheap. Just because I had it in this tank, I'll put a piece of driftwood, but honestly, most of my pleco tanks do not have driftwood. Don't be mad, they do really well. If anything, this tank, the plecos look kind of skinny in there. I bet they spend more time on the driftwood than the food when it's available. So my tanks with no driftwood, the plecos still do great. And I'm gonna add some acrylic yarn from this tank. It grows beneficial bacteria. This tank's so hard to see, but all it is, it's acrylic yarn, stays in the tank. The parents can hide in it and swim in and out if the female wants to get away or the male wants to get away. Or if the male's trying to kind of trap her, they can lay underneath that and he'll kind of move her around and eventually get her to the cave. Sometimes I'll put a cap on it. This one, I tilted it so they actually wouldn't breed, but that'll rest right on top of the clay pot, and that'll kind of make sure that no light gets in from above when there's that little hole. And it keeps the babies in there. So I think I'm gonna move that whole flower pot into the new tank, throw the driftwood in there, and move this acrylic yarn in there, and I'm gonna clean it out first with some dechlorinated water. I already said temperature can vary, but mid 70s they do great. I do water changes once a week, about 50%, maybe like 75%. You can really go ahead and drain this tank down to about right here, fill it back up, net out any of the waste on the bottom, or you can siphon that out. The sponge filters I clean whenever the tank gets really cloudy. I mean, it's not every month, it might be every 6 months, some tanks may be every year. Really low maintenance, easy fish, and very important, I feed these algae wafers twice a day. I'm feeding the smaller ones, but I just ran out, so I'll feed those till they come in the mail. I'll post a link below because that's really helpful. I buy 5 pounds of that every month or so, and it costs like 40 bucks. Used to last me a few months, but I've been flying through because I have so many different Pleco tanks right now, and I'll feed them 2 wafers a day in the morning and night, so it's like 4 wafers a tank. When there's babies, I'm putting like 10 wafers in there, depending if they're the small size or the big size. That's for the smalls. That food's really important. That's pretty much all I feed them. They might get some guppy flake food that sinks to the bottom if I'm breeding with guppies. But right here I have some red guppies in there, and a customer is actually buying some of these this weekend, so they're going to hang tight until I sell them, and then I'll probably pick a trio, breed them, and the rest will go for sale. This is more of an informal video. I know we're not getting the best views right now, so hang tight. Let's catch those bristlenose out. I'll show you what the parents look like before I put them in the tank, and then we'll get them set up, and I'm pretty sure we'll have babies in the next few weeks. Whenever you're catching plecos, it's important to use a very fine mesh net. I forget what it's actually called, like what the millimeter is, but this is my pleco net I always use. I want to order more, so I'm going to try to look that up. I've only bought them at stores, but I like to order some online. If I find them, I'll let you know what they are. But here's that big male. I'm excited to breed this guy. I've been growing him up for quite some time, and we're going to take our time, get him in the net, take a look at him, put him in the tank. There he goes. He didn't want to come out of the net for me, so all I did is just hang it there until he wants to swim out by himself. I wanted to hold him up and show him for you guys, but he really wedged himself in there quick, so I wasn't going to try to rip him out. Hopefully the female will be more cooperative and I can show you her. As for the female, her finnage is just beautiful. A lot easier to get them because they don't have the big bushy nose with as big of barbs. But her side fins are a little thin, but she's an awesome fish and a perfect size to match with this male. Let's go ahead and let her in there. And it's important whenever you're breeding these guys, you want the plecos to be the same size, if not the male, a little bit bigger. If you got a huge female and a small male, he can never push her around enough to actually get her in the cave and breed, and she might even kill him. So make sure you match up the size if you're introducing a new pair to each other. Say you have an established fish right now that's big and you want to try to breed him or her, and they're in a tank, they have a territory, they have a cave, and you want to add a new one. Go ahead and remove their cave so they don't have that territory anymore, then add the other fish. You don't want to drop them in and try to breed them right away if there's already a dominant fish. So in this situation, the male and female are from different tanks. They're both going to a new tank, new territory. They have their flower pot, some acrylic yarn, a little bit of driftwood. Got some guppies in there swimming above for some more coverage. The air stone will go a little bit faster. I just wrung that sponge filter out, so you want a little bit more airflow than what I have now. But in the next hour or so, that'll speed up. If the tank's cloudy, doesn't really matter. Just keep up on your water changes. Make sure your nitrates stay low, and just keep feeding them, keep giving them water changes. You'll have baby plecos in no time. Hope that was helpful, guys. I know we're just kind of rushing around. I'm just doing my chores. I wanted to videotape it. Let's go ahead and release some of these plecos to finish up this video. And these will be all the commons. Usually if I have 2 hands, I'll go ahead and kind of push them out. If you have a bowl or a container, it's a lot easier for them to swim out versus those hang-on specimen containers. With the corners, they like to kind of get stuck in there. It's hard to reach your hand all the way to the back to get them out, especially while filming. But we'll still try it anyways, because I do have the long fins in one of those containers. Really good for seeing the fish, easier to catch them out if you have to catch them out. You can get a net against the wall and individually pick any ones you want. But there we go, release those guys, and there we go. Last one came out, no problems. So that was ideal. Doesn't always work that way, especially when they get older. But this tank now has no breeding pots, nothing on the bottom. So now it's a lot easier to net out all that old mulm and fish food, which is a great food source for babies. So you don't want to have zero, you want to have a little bit. And if you mix them with other fish, the more the guppies eat and they go to the bathroom, they'll even kind of clean that up even more. But now I'm going to keep growing these guys out. Hope this was helpful. If you're not already subscribed and you like these kind of videos, just old school fish room stuff, showing you the fish tanks, walking through, showing you what I see. I don't do a whole lot of editing. I don't make you sit there while I'm not talking, but I'll jump around, but I'm not going to do anything too fancy for you guys, but that's why I like watching. Hope you do too. If you agree, like, subscribe, check out my website, biancosfish.com, and I will see you guys next time.